Sotomayor story?
Well, Danny was an activist for 4 years, for 2 years of the 4 years that he was around once he was diagnosed with AIDS. So he didn't waste any time. And he helped create Chicago ACT UP, which was a pretty powerful group. And I just have to say, I'm really thrilled that Dan Andres was producer and director of the piece, and he wanted to do this movie for 20 years. So Danny was a student at Columbia College. He was a political illustrator, so he did a lot of political cartoons in the Windy City Times and Free Press, and he is pretty known for his work. And a Columbia College student shot a lot of 3/4-inch footage following Danny and his activists around, and that's what I had the pleasure of editing. Is like, I don't know, it was kind of spooky. I felt like Danny was in the room with me, so I hung pictures of him, and then there was so much footage to look at, I would be zipping through it, and then I'd just land on some things, and I kind of feel like he was helping me a little bit. So anyway, I'm very thrilled to be a part of it and to be a part of the team at Chicago Stories.
You can see part of that video as it's playing right now. We'll talk about, I love the process behind this. You talked about it. It's a story that he wanted to tell for 20 years. It took a long time, but talk about how fulfilling it is to finally get this to TV, get this there for people.
Well, it was Dan Andres, so he held the torch for 20 years, and I got to live with it for 10 weeks.
Wow.
So I got to be in the edit room for 10 weeks working on the footage, and I think that's one thing that people mention when they see the doc, which is on PBS Passport, is that they feel like, they're getting to know Danny because there's so much footage of him and not just a photograph zooming in and out type of thing.
It's a challenge, I feel, when you, of course, try to show a documentary, even a short news segment, when you don't have enough what we call in the biz B-roll, right? But it can also be a problem to have an excess of material. How did you deal with that?
Well, that's why I think Danny was in the room with me, Danny Sotomayor. I mean, I think, I don't know, I just tried to be open. I tried to keep my eyes out as I was zipping through footage, and I don't know. I just let it happen.
I mean, as an editor, talk about the lessons learned from this. I know you're in a bay, in essence, working on this, right, for 10 weeks, you said. But is it something that you got out of it that you didn't before, that you said, oh my goodness, it's an aha moment for me?
Well, I'm umpteen years old, and this was the first and only project I've cut as an editor in somebody else's facility. So I've always cut at my own place, and so that was different. That was a little nerve-wracking, I must say, that I'd never walked into somebody else's place. And the staff there is absolutely fantastic, and I had my own room, so I got used to it and could set it up the way, to be comfortable. And that was a little nerve-wracking when I first got the offer. But I couldn't say no. I'd known Dan for 20 years, and I never got to work with him. So
he's a true talent, as are you, clearly, as the Emmy judges have deemed. So congratulations once again to Sharon Zurek for the long-form editing award just received tonight. And again, you can find that on the PBS app and WTTW welcoming staff. And check out the website. Chicago Stories really does a lot of this long form that is so great for exploring Chicago's history and history makers, including Danny Sotomayor. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So far, the WTTW show, no complaints here. This is awesome.
Hey, wrapping it up.
We got more. Where is coming up? Stay there.